Rough season fog ahead.
Okay, here's a look at Mechanic Studios, MS Mechanic Studios 37 Giant X, which is their version of a legend scaled broadside. And here you could see there's two versions. This one's the G1 toy version, and this one is the G1 cartoon version. But technically this one also appeared in the G1 cartoon, that episode, The Burden Hardest to Bear, but his lower legs didn't have that painted detail down there. But here's the difference between the two. And just to get a closer look at the box, let's now take a look at the back of the box. So you get your typical product images and the bio, which says exactly the same thing. And then when you look to the side, you could see it has the nice artwork in alt mode, both alt modes. And then the other side, you get the nice artwork, the cartoon version and the toy version, but this one also appeared in the cartoon. And then here you could see top of the box, the Mechanic Studios 37D is the cartoon version. And then the bottom, you get your warning words and stuff. So that is a look at the box. And in terms of accessories, they come with the exact same accessories for both. And here, let me just point out the first thing that I carefully looked at them in terms of the shade of gray. They look like they're exactly the same. So if you accidentally swap them, I think there's no worries. But in terms of the accessories, you could see they both come with the axe and a gun. And if we take a closer look, you could see it's a nicely sculpted gun. And the axe, this is a nicely sculpted axe. And then they also come with a pair of missiles. So here you could see the missile is also nicely sculpted. And they attach to the end of the wings in the alt mode for the plane. And in the ship mode or the aircraft carrier mode, you could see you can attach them down here. And then there is another accessory that this comes with, which are some aerial bots in their alt mode. And here there is a difference. The G1 toy version comes with a lighter shade of gray, and the cartoon version comes with a darker shade of gray. And here you just, they are on these runners, so you have to carefully clip these. And after you cut them out, if you want, you can attach them here to kind of replicate that scene from the episode where the aerial bots were flying off of Broadside. So that was kind of cool. And then you also get my favorite, the bio card, which has the same nice artwork on the front of the box. And the back of the card, you could see it has your typical product images with the bio. That's also the same on the back of the box. And then the last thing is the instructions, and I only need to go over one because they use the exact same instructions for both, but they did put the different artwork for the two different versions. And if you're having trouble seeing this, I'm going to give you the same advice I gave to senior clients, which is take a picture with your phone and zoom in. And here now you could see these detailed drawings up close. And there is something incorrect with the transformation here. And I don't want to get all into it, but I'll try to point that out later when I go over these. But just pointing out, these instructions are incorrect. So it makes me wonder, did that reviewer who writes the instructions for the other company give these incorrect instructions? The one saying coconut water is a diuretic because you Googled it, which is exactly how you are not supposed to do research, how you get misinformation that way. So here I'm just sharing some quick nutrition information. So coconut water, first of all, is a diuretic, but not in that context, like it's going to cause you to be dehydrated, because first of all, coconut water does not contain caffeine. And if you learn how to read the nutrition labels, coconut water does contain a lot of electrolytes such as calcium, potassium, magnesium, other nutrients that are actually rehydrating. And so this is why this does not cause you to be dehydrated. It doesn't have caffeine. So, you know, in terms of the diuretic, you know, the concern about being dehydrated, coconut water is not going to do that. And so, yeah, when you're asking the correct professionals and you're not making the mistake, Google it, where you get misinformation, you will know that, yes, coconut water is an excellent source of a natural electrolyte. So if you play basketball, this is actually much better than Gatorade. And one last tip, I'm not going to get all into, but if you have diabetes, coconut water is actually a good beverage to drink. And so now consult your professionals, such as a dietitian, to find out that, yes, that coconut water is actually a very good beverage. But anyways, just some quick nutrition tips. So back to the figure. Now let's go over each one of these. So to start, let's go over Broadside in his aircraft mode. And here you could see what this looks like. And let's bring out the original G1. And you could see that they did a nice job capturing the details, such as the paint right here, which is really nice. But for me, I really don't like it because that's not very tune accurate. But they did a nice job capturing the details of the a G1 toy look. And when you look closer, you could see it's nicely sculpted. It has all this extra detail, so this is really nice. And they even gave you these landing wheels, so that's really cool. So here's a look at Broadside in his alt mode, and for the most part they look pretty much the same. The only difference is really the back here, which you'll see in robot mode. You know, he has these jet thrusters here. This one, he has like these vents. So that's really the only difference. But in terms of his aircraft carrier mode and here's airplane mode, they're pretty much the same. So now let's take a closer look at the aircraft carrier mode. And here you could see that they did a nice job here with this as well. So let's bring out the original G1 and you could see yeah, they even did a nice job painting a white stripe here for those aerial bots to fly off of. I think I need to put a Autobot symbol right there. And then I don't want to be nitpicky, but little things are off here, but that's just due to the engineering of the transformation and stuff. But for the most part, they did a nice job with both of these alt modes for a triple changer. So now let's transform these, each one, into their robot mode and take a look at that. Okay, let's start with Broadside in his plane mode and transform him to his robot mode. So first you want to remove the accessories. So untab these missiles from the end of the wing. And then we want to come to the bottom and fold up these landing wheels. And then here we want to untab the wings that tab in here on the bottom. And when you bring it up, then we want to fold down these wings. And you could see it's on a slider, so they are going to slide up. And then there are two posts here for the two slots down here. So as you're bringing them up, you need to get those lined up. And you also need to be aware that this is on a double hinge. So you need to use that double hinge to help you guide those posts to line up with the slots. Once you do, tab it in and give it a good squeeze. And then we want to come here and untab his chest and lift it up. And now we want to bring out his arms. But first we need to bend down the front part to give us some room to now push these arms up first. So you need to push it up. So you could see I pushed it up. And then you can now extend these arms out like so. So do the same on the other side. And I'm just telling you, when you're reverse transforming it, when you're transforming it to the plane, once you get it in, you need to push it down so that this plane will come up. But now when you're doing it to robot mode, now you need to push it up, which now you see the plane is, now the shoulder's in the way of the plane. But anyways, then you bring it out all the way, like so. And then we want to fold up the front of the plane, the nose cone, and there's top piece. You want to lift that up, and here there is this small panel piece. You want to fold that down, otherwise it's not going to fold into that little armature piece right there. That's what that cutout's for. And then we want to bring down the front of the plane, and here sometimes it will catch, and I'm just explaining everything. And that's because that gray piece that Broadside's head is on, it's actually that tab. And so for you to have that clearance, you need to use this cutout shape. So you see it goes across, up, across, down, and across. So you need to help guide that gray piece up and through. And then once you get it through, then we can fold up the tip. And then now we can just bring all those red pieces down. And then now we can bring this whole red piece down and in. And you need to make sure you get this gray piece up all the way, like so. And then you need to make sure that these side of his chest that has these two tabs are facing forward for the slots on the front of the chest. Line that up, tab it in, like so. And then there are these two oblique panels. So now you want to lift those up and then complete his chest. And then let's do the easy part down here. Let's just fold up these tail wings here and up. And then you could see there's a little tab there for the little slot here. So you just rotate this up, and it doesn't tab in very securely. It just kind of holds it in place right there, like so. And then let's lift up his feet. And then we want to come here to the bottom, and you want to pull out this piece here, the little, I don't know what you call it. It's not really a heel. You just want to extend it. So now you bring it out, pull that out, and then put it back in so it's nice and flush. So same thing again. You want to bring it out and then extend out this piece so that it's flat like this. And then you want to put it back in. And then here, okay, I'm going to digress a little bit here because I want to point out things that are incorrect with the instructions. But it's actually not showing you instructions from alt mode to robot mode. But here I'm just pointing out, well, let's just transform it a little bit more first. So first, bring down these panels, and I'm pointing things out. You could see that this is angled here, because you could see this is angled here. The hips is angled. And then once you bring that down, then you can accordion these legs down, or the thighs up. And then there's a little tab that's going to go into the slot up there. So you need to make sure you get that in on both sides. And then once you do, then you can just easily bring down that cover panel on both sides. And then we can untab his legs. And here I'm pointing things out. You think that this is his hips, because he has that triangle shape, kind of like prow, but that's actually incorrect. And I actually know that from study drawing and doing my own drawing of Broadside and looking at the cartoons and stuff. So I even also pointed out this way. Look at how the package, so you could see his hips. So if you remember, I said the angle, so you could see the hips are angled. So this technically is not the front of his hips. The front of his hips are actually back here. And so the instructions that are incorrect, diuretics, they don't show you that you need to lift up these panel pieces and then rotate his crotch around 180 and then bring this down in order to have the correct angled hips facing forward. So yeah, I wanted to make that clear. The instructions show you this, but then they don't show you that you need to flip and rotate this all around, rotate the crotch around. So I wanted to make that clear. So this is officially the correct transformation in robot mode. And clearly here you could see he doesn't have the triangle crotch. So just wanted to get that, to make that very clear. So now to finish up the transformation, here we want to rotate the arms so they're facing forward from the bicep. So let's find that bicep here. And then now to bring out his hands, they're different on both sides. So his right side, it's easy. You just open that up and then you rotate his hand out and then close that panel up. And then this side is a little harder because it opens up here. And yeah, that other reviewer was having some difficulty. So I'm telling you, you see that little tab here? You actually want to bend that plastic out, and that will make it easier for you to lift this up. Because if you don't bend this out, it's going to be kind of hard to lift it up. But anyways, that's just a tolerance issue. So bend that out, lift this up, bring out the hand, and then bring it down. And then to straighten this all out, pointing out that you can see he has like a double jointed shoulder. So just adjust this so that his shoulders line up with his chest. And then last, if you want, you can now give him his gun or his axe. I think he looks good with, I think the toy version that also appeared in the cartoon, I think looks good with the gun. And then the funny looking toon version one, I think looks good with the axe. But now we have Broadside in his robot mode. Okay, that's how you transform Broadside from his jet plane mode to robot mode. So now we need to transform him from his aircraft carrier mode to his robot mode. So here, first let's remove the accessories. So untab these missiles and put them to the side. And then here, I don't know what you call it, the tower, fold that down. And then we want to come to the back here and this piece, lift this piece up and then lift up this back piece. And now we want to separate these two that tab in here from that box, and then the tab here, the two arms. And this arm, it's pretty easy. You just bring it out and lift it up, and you could see you want to bring out the hand and then close that panel and extend the arm and bring it out to the side like so. And then this side, you want to bring this down at an angle, and this is also the same for transforming it to the aircraft carrier mode. You want to have it at this angle, which makes it easier for you to get this whole piece in here and out. And then once you get that, you rotate it and then you bring all of this out. And then now we want to fold all of these pieces back up. And then this side, remember, has that hand that's hard to get out. And this is where you need to use that tab to bend that plastic out, which makes it easier to lift it up. Then you rotate that hand out and then bring it back down. And then now we have his arms out. And then now we want to fold down these two side pieces and then bring down this top piece that's on a double hinge. And then now we want to lift up this, I don't know, it's that landing part. And then you want to untab it. It's a hook tab, so that means you have to pull down one side and then lift them up. And then you rotate it, and here you want to fold down these wings. Make sure all the way. And then the same thing here on that double hinge. You want to bring it up and get those two posts to line up with the two slots here. And once you get them lined up on both sides, you want to tab it in, give it a good squeeze, like so. And then let's just go ahead and finish these arms. They just rotate, so you could see to transform it to the aircraft carrier mode, you need to have the arms out with the ball joints facing up. So here now you just bring the arms up and down, bring it up and down. And then now we can come here to these hips. I'm telling you, you know, this is the incorrect hips, the straight one. But anyways, so let's lift up these feet. And then now we want to fold in the heels like so. And then here we want to bring down these red panel pieces, which now will allow us to accordion up these thighs. And then when you bring it down, you need to make sure that that top piece, there's a tab that goes into the slot. Make sure that knee goes in, and then that will allow you to close it. Because if you just try closing it, you could see it doesn't close, because you need to first make sure that that top tab lines up here, and then push that leg forward, and then you can bring this down like so. And then we can separate his legs. And then again, the same incorrect instructions. I mean, the instructions don't show you about rotating the crotch diuretic. So what you need to do is lift up these panel or if you want, you can leave it this way, but actually that's not accurate, because this is supposed to be his front part. And it doesn't work by simply rotating that around, because now his feet are backwards. So what you need to do is lift up all these hip skirts from the front, the back, the sides, and then rotate his crotch around 180, and then bring down these panels, the front, the back, the sides, and then rotate it. So now this white detail is facing forward. And then now we have Broadside, the cartoon version, in his robot mode. And this one, like I said, I don't really like this design, this character design, so I'm giving him the axe. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't think robots should have axes. But anyways, now we have Broadside, the cartoon version, or this cartoon version, in his robot mode. Okay, now that we got both of these transformed into their robot mode, now we can zoom in and take a comparison between these two. So like I said, this one's the cartoon version and this is the G1 toy version, but this one also appeared in the cartoon without all this nice painted detail here. So I'm just making it clear I prefer the toon aesthetics, but I do appreciate the details here because it does look nice. It just doesn't really capture, it's not really accurate to the cartoon. That's the only difference. But now let's just do this real quick first. Let's compare these two with the animation model. And here you could see that for the most part, yeah, they did a nice job. I mean, you just take a look, closer look. I'm not going to get all into the details because, you know, I could take up all your precious time pointing out every single thing that's different with it. But overall, I think they did a nice job. But in terms of the figure, the most important thing, and I'm going to do my best to try to do both of these. You could see both of these are really nicely sculpted, nicely proportioned. It does have a good amount of detail, not overly detailed. And you saw the transformation. The engineering was pretty easy, simple, and very intuitive. Yeah, and there is some nice paint here and there. It looks really nice. And I guess one good difference is, let's zoom in. Let's take out his axe getting in the way. Take a closer look at the heads. Both of these, even though I like this head because this one's more accurate to that G1 episode, Burden Hardest to Bear, this head actually looks nice because it does not have those bars on the side of his head, which just functionally doesn't look like his head can rotate. But yeah, this one still looks nice. But yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to keep it short and simple. I'm just telling you, how I personally feel. I actually really like these figures. And unfortunately, I don't have the original G1, so I can't compare that, but I can show you image online of the original G1, and you could see that this one definitely does capture the G1 toy aesthetics. If that's your thing, you like the G1 toy. But yeah, there's some difference. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but let me see if I can bring out one. I do have the Hasbro version, but maybe you already know the way I am. I prefer the Takata because they focus more on capturing the G1 tune aesthetic. So this one, I forgot what line this is, but here's the generation. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing this out is because we need an updated mainline retail version of this. And yeah, this is the first time I'm saying that. Maybe, hopefully, this Titan version that's, that they're gonna give us is going to be maybe a Titan version Broadside. Maybe, hopefully. At least that's what I'm hoping for. But anyways, that's just one last comparison I wanted to show you. And hopefully I made this video short, considering this is a triple changer for 2 figures. And I don't want to, bring out all of the other figures to, do more comparisons and stuff. Yeah, that's a lot of work for a reviewer that, other reviewers don't actually take the time to do. But I'm sure you could find a lot of nice pictures out there of some comparisons. So that's it. That's a look and my review for the Mechanic Studios Giant Axe, the MS-37 and the MS-37D.
Because of you, I got blasted out of space. Ah! Do you realize what that did to my pizza?